It's annoying, but it's a bot, and it cannot go on any longer. Hang it up, flat screen. I would have dragged you regardless. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be haters. I am so sorry. If you do not like being a hater, this is not for you. You guys know I am a hater first, and there is just something on my spirit. I wasn't going to make this video because I'm like, you know what, Kia, we need to spread positivity. People going through stuff, let's spread positivity. But no, I have to be a hater. Every now and then something comes to me in my sleep and I say it's time for me to hate, and I have to be a hater on today. We have to do away with the podcast industrial complex. Like, it's prison, Tory Lanez, and then it's podcast. Like, that's what it is. Like, we gotta get rid of those. Like, that terrorism, absolute terrorism is what it is. Like, I am tired. I am tired of podcasts. Too many people have podcasts. Now, I am not here to say if you have something on your spirit, you shouldn't start a podcast, because you know what? Somebody has to make the good podcast, and why not be you? Why not it be you? There are some amazing podcasters. Some celebrities are doing amazing podcasts. Some influencers are making amazing podcasts, and some regular folk are making amazing podcasts. But there are some that are just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So if you don't know what I am discussing, have you ever met a friend who ain't never had nothing productive to say? That's your homie and y'all click and y'all cool, it's ride or die, but they ain't never had shit productive to say. Then all of a sudden y'all sitting at lunch and they like, you know what? I should start a podcast. And you like, the hell? Like, what? Like, what? Like, I love you and I will support your podcast, but don't nobody want to hear what you got to say. Like, I love you and we family and we homies, but like, don't nobody care what you got to say. Like, they're not entertaining. They're not funny. They're not, you know, everybody can't be funny. Everybody cannot be funny. And so you just like, what you think people want to listen to you about? And then, like, you don't also have to be funny. Maybe you're just knowledgeable on like a topic, or you're knowledgeable on a plethora of topics. And you like, but you're not that either. What are you talking about wanting to start a podcast? And the reason why they want to start a podcast is to talk about the same old shit everybody talk about every single day. And it's like, what makes you think anybody want to watch that? Anybody want to listen to that? Like, what are you talking about? You want to start a podcast to talk about $200 dates? You want to start a podcast to talk about $200 dates, flying first class, like splitting bills, like what? That's really what you want to start a podcast about? You want to start a podcast to talk about what niggas talk about every day on Twitter for free? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know what you're saying, but that is what people do. People say they want to start a podcast just to be like everybody else, just to talk about the same old shit that people are tired of hearing. And my thing is, why is the podcast the first way to go? Do people have this idea in their head that podcasting is easy? I am not a podcaster. Now, I do a podcast over on my Patreon, but it's very mom and pop. It's very hole in the wall. Like, I am not over here trying to get Spotify deals. Spotify, you want to give me a deal, hello, but I'm not trying to get Spotify deals. Like, I'm doing it for the girls, okay? But like, some people like are really good podcasters. Even the people I do not like, I can commend for being good podcasters. Some people just have it. And when you're going to do a podcast, you have to have it in another way that a lot of people do not have. There are several people who I think are amazing YouTubers or amazing TikTokers or amazing on Instagram, and then they start a podcast and I'm like, it's like watching paint dry. I'm like, you are so incredibly boring, because a podcast strips away a lot of the privilege per se that a lot of other people may get. So being pretty, having a nice body, having, showing off luxurious things, having a lifestyle people aspire to, it strips away a lot of that, like, and all you have to do is listen to them. And a lot of people are just not that interesting to listen to, even though they may make the best content on another platform. So I just think maybe some people aren't giving podcasters the respect that they deserve, and understand that making a podcast, talking for 2 hours long, sometimes some people talk for 4 hours long, like it takes a lot. Like you can't just sit up there and just be like, I'm gonna talk about $200 dates and I'm gonna do a podcast. It really does not work like that. It takes so much to do these jobs. a lot of creatives, y'all think like, hey, all it is just doing this and I'm gonna do that too. Then you do it and then all of a sudden you sending out subtweets because you say your friends don't support you, but you boring. And then you also don't have the follow through. You don't stay committed to it because you believe that just by merit, people are going to want to listen to you, and it does not work that way. So it blows me every time I see someone who I'm just like, you want to start a podcast? Like, podcasting is not I'm not saying you can't do it. Like I said, some people are amazing podcasters. Podcasting is humongous and people make amazing podcasts. But if you don't have nothing interesting to say, that's the thing. Let's say you want to talk about $200 days. You want to talk about splitting bills. You want to talk about doing first class. You want to talk about whatever you want to talk about. You can do that and do something interesting with it. And I will watch. I listen to so many podcasts that literally, I don't agree with nothing they saying, or I think it's stupid, or because that can be fun. That's the fun in it sometimes. Sometimes it's fun to like be a part of the banter, you know? But it's just like, if you're also not going to add anything new to the conversation, how do you expect to get your footing? A lot of times, the reason why certain podcasters are able to make it, even though they're not reinventing the wheel, is because they already have a built-in audience. But if you think you're going to start your audience with the podcast and you're not doing nothing new, I'm confused. I'm confused on what we're doing, and I'm tired. I don't know why we gave y'all microphones. Why did we give y'all microphones and unfoldable tables? I don't know, because y'all don't be doing nothing with it, nothing with good sense doing it. But I broke it down. These are the literal podcast sections of the people who continue to give us podcasts, all doing the same thing. First, let's hit on the easiest person to read. Celebrities. Have y'all seen what Spotify's doing? Have y'all seen what all these streaming like music services are doing? They're giving everyone and their mother a podcast if you are a celebrity. Podcasts take commitment. That's another thing I don't think people are giving credit for. In order to build a platform off a podcast, people really have to mess with you. Like, I do YouTube, and like, great for me, but like, I don't have a podcast following. You know how hard it is to build a podcast following? People who want to listen to you for hours. Like, that is hard. That is so hard. So it blows me that people think people want to listen to random celebrities for hours and hours and hours. Like, I know what they're thinking they're doing. They're thinking they're plugging into like the radio audience and the people who loved radio, people who loved Howard Stern and all of that, and you know, very fireside chats, very much so that what they're trying to tap into. But it's like, it don't work that way. Like, why does every single celebrity need a podcast? Because celebrities are not interesting on merit. Like, just being a celebrity does not make you interesting. Like, you have to have more than that to continue to get people to come in and want to like really listen to you. And tell me how many of these celebrity podcasts have made any noise. I know like Spotify and a few others announced a plethora of podcasts. I don't even know if those things ever came out. Like, they like on merit, it's just not that interesting. Like, I just don't want to hear good old stories that are obviously censored because you don't want to mess up your brand. Like, it's just, I don't see what the point. Like I said, not reinventing the wheel. Like, go do a Vogue cover, go do a Vanity Fair interview, go give an interview to someone if you want to tell random stories. Like, what about this is going to make me want to tune in every single week? But the celebrities keep doing the podcast and they keep making zero noise. Like, y'all hear something? No one hears something. So I'm like, why are we giving celebrities podcasts? I do not understand. The next group of people who need to stop really making podcasts is influencers, because it's just like I said earlier, just on merit, you are not that interesting. Just because you are able to cultivate a YouTube channel, just because you are able to cultivate an Instagram following, just because you are able to cultivate any following of yours, don't mean you can make a podcast. Being a podcaster, I am putting a lot of respect on podcasters' names because I think they don't get the respect they deserve for literally doing something that is so hard. And we know it's hard because so many people get into the avenue and they don't do well. So many people who have other platforms get into podcasting and they lose steam. They lose, like, they don't have desire to do it anymore because it takes a lot of effort. So just because you are an influencer and you're able to get people to want to watch you, emphasis on the word watch you, look at you with their eyes, does not mean that without any of that, I want to listen to you. Like, you're interesting. Like, a lot of the times we see influencers and it's edited. We see them in splices. For example, y'all see me for 10, 20 minutes. Y'all see, we don't see, 2 hours of these people. And you learn very quickly, a lot of y'all ain't interesting. Now, there are some that are very interesting. There are many influencers who have been able to make very, very good podcasts. I'm not dragging the girls, but what I'm saying is many of you aren't. Many of you aren't, because it's just that unscripted, off the cuff, being spontaneously funny is just not everybody. Some people are just a little boring. And then also, when it comes to doing an influencer podcast, it takes commitment. Every podcast that I listen to religiously has gone through stages. They've gone through maybe having this type of setup, having this type of co-host, having this type of dialogue, doing this type of topics. And it evolves over time because you realize what works. Like I said, it's not easy. You just don't turn on your Yeti mic and all of a sudden your podcast is good. It really does take a lot. It really does take a lot to get into a certain bag. And so when I hear certain podcasters, they'll do a podcast, then after a while no one cares anymore and they just stop. And I'm just like, you didn't even love it enough. You weren't even committed enough to it that you were willing to actually go through the development stages and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. Because then all of a sudden they fall off and you don't hear it anymore. I feel like certain influencers and celebrities, they'll have 2 interesting stories to tell. They got 2 interesting stories to tell. And then they believe that's going to carry an entire podcast, and it don't. And they be sitting here looking at us like we don't support them. It's just you weren't interesting in an unscripted, unedited environment, and that is okay because you still have all your other sources of revenue. That is okay. Now let's get into some other folks who make podcasts, and it's just what are we doing here? The Nixels, not to be confused with incels. The Nixels is the black incels. Maybe fostered in by a Charlemagne, a Kevin Samuels, a Joe Budden. That's the Nixels. The Nixels are online to cause confusion and disruption. I say confusion because none of their talking points make sense. Their talking points are unresearched, unrehearsed, everything lack knowledge, lack nuance, everything that an actual argument needs to have footing. So they're here just to cause confusion. You're just confused. They say certain things and you're just confused. And then they're here to cause disruption because black women just be minding their business, and all of a sudden, here come the Nixels just ready to attack us. And it's just what's going on here? What's going on here? They have, like I said, no talking points, no reason, no rhyme. They are insecure. They sit online and they just talk about black women. They just talk about black women, what black women need to do, what women need to do, how people need to do this, and how people need to do that, and how black women need to do this. They're basically, their entire existence is in the humbling of black women. It's very bizarre behavior. And the thing is, okay, you have your people who that works for a Kevin Samuels, right? By the way, I low-key believe Kevin Samuel is a government op who has been put into the black community to really cause confusion, because where did Kevin Samuels come from? All of a sudden, Kevin Samuels, people, this is my first time really ever talking about Kevin Samuels on my channel, but people I don't know who that man is. I do not know who that man is, but everywhere I go, any black platform that I follow on social media, they talk about Kevin Samuels. I'm like, where did this man, is he paying y'all? Is he paying y'all to give him pre-promo? But I think a lot of people see someone like Kevin Samuels, like a Joe Budden, like a Charlemagne, and they see that, oh, these people don't have the most intelligence in the world, but they are able to grow humongous platforms. So I am going to do the same, and it's just I'm not giving a lot of credit. But you can say, in order to amass a platform the way that these people are able to amass a platform, especially someone like a Charlemagne and a Joe Budden, it does take something. I don't want to give them nothing. Y'all know I don't want to. It does take something. It does take something, and so you don't have that something. So to think you're going to get on a mic, regurgitate their talking points because that's your daddy, and then just be like, okay, boom, here's a podcast. It's just you're saying exactly what they're saying, which why wouldn't someone just go to the source? Why wouldn't someone just go to the cow that they own instead of going to buy the milk from the lady next door? It don't make no sense. Like, I have the cow. I don't need to go get your off-brand milk. Like, it don't make no sense. And that's what I don't understand about the niggas. Why do y'all keep regurgitating the exact same content? And then I guess some of you see just how much meaner you can get. Like, that's why I think the rise of Kevin Samuels come from, because he's just mean with it. And so y'all just get meaner and meaner and meaner. And it's just like, what is the point of this? That brings us to Joe Rogan and his son, the incels, the Reddit girls, the Reddit incels. These people are also here to cause confusion and disruption, and also with some racism. Like, that is what the incels are on the internet to do. The incels have their own part of the internet. They do Barstool, I see you. They're over there. They're the Reddit girlies. They're the Joe Rogans, and they're just here to, they have no politics. The incels have no politics. Don't ever believe they have politics. Are they alt-right leaning? Yes, but they have no real politics, because they will always go the way of contrarian. They will always go the opposite way. When everyone's going left, they're going to go right. So they have no real politics. They don't care. They don't, even if what they align with everyone is doing, they're going to go the other way because they just want to cause mess and they just want to be hateful. Everything that they do is behind a joke. Oh, everyone's too sensitive. Everyone too this. That is what that side of the internet gives. And it's like, once again, doing the same thing over and over. Joe Rogan and his cohorts. Like, you're not going to be Joe Rogan. You starting a podcast, you will not be Joe Rogan. Hang it up. Like, he's already doing it. That's what I don't understand. Your daddy Joe Rogan is already doing it. Your daddy Charlemagne, your daddy Kevin Samuels is already doing it. So what makes you think you can do it? Like, go do something else. Have an original thought and go do something else. It doesn't make any sense. Now, all my ladies, if you feel me, help me sing it out. Ladies, we got a problem too, because our content don't be good either. And I'm not going to do too much on my ladies. But let's start with the Pick Me content. Then you have the Pick Me podcast. The Pick Me podcast is the women who sit up on mics all day and talk about what they want to do for a man and what women should do for a man. And this is how you keep a man. And if you want to attract someone like Kevin Samuel and his cohorts, you need to do this. You need to make sure you bring this to the table. You need to bring that to the table. Just very pick me down. And it's ugly. Sitting online and saying what's wrong with every other woman, but why you a good woman and why you did, it's boredom. It's just straight up boredom. You are bored. But the Pick Me podcast be right there, just bored down, just following behind the coattails. They almost dipped their toe in the nixel category just a little bit, just trying to appease men so bad. They almost get into incel category, like territory. Like, you know what? We should be having children and having the dishes done and mopping the floors and da-da-da-da and da-da-da. And here's the thing. Being a pick me on Mary, it really don't do me nothing. If that's what you want to do, if you want to bear children, you want to pay all the bills, and you want to clean the dishes, and you want to mop the floor, and you want to do, if that's what you want to do, get it how you live it. I really don't give a good goddamn. But the problem is when you say other women should be doing it too, and that's why other women ain't got a man, but you don't got a man yourself. So then we all in this circle looking at each other manless, and it's just like, what we doing here? So then you got the pick me content, which y'all never gonna be free. But then I have another one that also bothers me. The anti-pick me content. Now, if I had to belong to any of these cohorts, I would probably belong into the anti-pick me cohort, because the girls have fun over there. So I would probably be if I had to be any of the girls, I would be an anti-pick me. But my anti-pick me girls, y'all have issues too, because I'm one of you, so I fear that sometimes us and the pick-me's look the same from a distance. I'm sorry. Us and the pick-me's kind of look the same from a distance. And that distance is centering men for no attention. For example, have you ever been on Twitter? And you'll see, or Instagram or Facebook, wherever you dwell, whatever gutter you choose to lie in. And you'll see some girl proposing to her man. And then you'll be like, someone's cutting their grass. They chose to cut their grass at this moment, but we move. You'll see someone and they're sitting there and they're like proposing to their man, and then all of a sudden someone will comment, be like, I will never propose to my man. You bitches is setting us back. Why would y'all be out here proposing to your man? That is nasty. Y'all are this, y'all are that. Women, I'm so disappointed in you. Why would you propose to your man? It's just like, wait a minute, we've lost the plot here. We have lost the plot here. You're this upset that this woman is proposing to her man. Now let's get this straight. Let's get this straight. I would much rather swallow a teddy bear than propose to a nigga. That's just never gonna be me. It's never gonna be me. And I don't condone any of that behavior. But once again, just like the pick-me's, not really bothering me. As long as you not coming for me and what I got going on in my situation, you not really bothering me. So I'm not about to sit online and be like, I could never be like you, girl. And then also that idea that these women who are engaging in that behavior are setting all women back, that's just internalized misogyny. Like, that woman ain't got nothing to do with the rest of us. Let her be. Let her be. And that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all look the same from a distance. The pick-me's and the anti-pick-me look the same for a distance. Caring too damn much about men. Like, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, who cares? If the man proposed to you or you propose to the man, we all in this misogynistic trap of marriage. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? So the anti-picks means they go out of their way sometimes. Like I said, if I had to belong to any of these, this is where I'd be. I love my ladies and I'm not gonna do too much on y'all. But sometimes y'all go out of your way to say what y'all never gonna do. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do it. And who asked? And it's like, you spend just as much time talking about men, just in the opposite way of a pick-me, but the energy feels just the same. The energy feels overly obsessed with nigga. Anyways, that brings me to my next group of girls. The don't talk about my man girls. The don't talk about my man girls are given everything in their life revolves around men. Like, and they spend all the podcasts and talk about what they man did this and they man did that. And it's like, I am sure you and your man are lovely. One thing about me, I love love. I love love. But I'm sure y'all got something better to talk about. My ladies, I know you got something better to talk about than this man. Here's the thing. This is always the thing. When you feel like you're oversharing or you're discussing a topic nobody wants to hear, bear in mind, no one cares as much as you do. So when you're telling people a story about your grandkids, about your nieces, like for me, I love to talk about my nieces. I literally can sit on here and talk about my nieces and nephews all day. Y'all don't care. Y'all don't care. No one cares about what you care about that much. No one cares about your personal life that much. I can talk about my man all day. Nobody cares. Y'all don't care about my man. Y'all don't come here for that. And that's what the don't talk about my man girls be on the podcast talking about. Talk about that man up and down the podcast, and it's just like, girl, can we get some content? Content is not talking about your man all day. It's not. Like, you as a person are so much more interesting than that. So much more interesting. You have so much to bring to the table. That's the nickels and the insults. I have nothing for y'all. But my ladies, you guys have so many topics to discuss, especially my black lady. And I want to see them that don't center around these men. Every podcast with my ladies is about men. And I'm just like, we've lost the plot. We've lost the plot. The next one is the worst of them because the rest of these you can ignore, right? This is the worst one because these people be coming for y'all coins. The LLC girlies, how to build a business, how to gain generational wealth, how to, sit first class, how to do this, how to get a house, how to do the LLC girlies. The LLC girlies are scammers. That's how I'm going to end this video. The LLC girlies are scammers. All my LLC podcasts, y'all are scamming down because it starts innocent. It starts innocent. It's mostly mess all the time. People who ain't got 6 figures trying to tell you how to make 6 figures, but get it how you live it. Get it how you live it. I don't care. Once again, not my business. I don't care. And then before you know it, the girlies are selling classes. They're trying to flip 500 into 5,000. Then the 5,000 turn into 15,000. And 15,000 turn into 50,000. And before you know it, they get people to get them $75,000 in their tip. They gonna turn it to $200,000. And all of a sudden, you done lost all your damn money. And you looking around like, what in the fuck? That is the LLC girls. The LLC girls will sell you classes. The LLC girlies will sell you dreams if it means you will give them some money. That is what my LLC girlies do. Sometimes the LLC girlies be like, you know what? We're all trying to build generational wealth. And you don't realize they trying to get that generational wealth from you. You sit here like, yes, black people get generational wealth, and you don't even realize you the con, you the long con, you the person they trying to get the money from. All like, I love my LLC girlies down, but I am sorry. The minute the girls start selling classes, I'm out. I be like, no, they gotta. And some people classes are good, right? This is a generalization. There are some people who make great podcasts. This is if you want to talk about what women should do for their man, man, maybe your podcast will be good. If you want to talk about what you ain't gonna do for a man, I'll be tuned in. If you want to talk about what you and your baby be doing, I love. So if we want to have a couples podcast, I'll be there. If you want to talk about how to build a business in 2021 and I want to build a business, I will be there to support, especially my ladies, my black girls. I will always be there to support you. But some of y'all scam me. Some is very scam likely, and I just feel like the podcast industrial complex has to fall. Like, we're not doing anything new. We're just giving people Yeti mics, and it's just like you're running amok, and I'm tired. I am tired. Like I said, if I had to belong to any of these, I would choose the anti-pick-me girls because y'all are cute, y'all are funny, y'all are camp. But I gotta say, like, how many of them do we need? But I don't know. The way the Nixels be popping up out of nowhere, we might need a whole army of y'all to fight them because it's just, and that's another, like, we can't be on the internet arguing with Nixels all day because it gets exhausting. I think part of the arguing is part of the brand that they're building, and it's just like, anyway, this video is going on too long. Down below, if you have a podcast, you can plug it. I would love to listen to it. I love you guys so much. And like I said, if you want to start a podcast, this is all fun. This is all jokes. Start you a podcast, girl. Go be great because all of you can be great. I know it. I love you guys so much. If you want to see more of me, hit me up on Patreon, which is that's Told by Kenya. I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.